Batman and Robin is directed by Joel Schumacher, is distributed by Warner Brothers, and it stars George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Alicia Silverstone. This movie, to me, was really the fact that it went too fast. It went like they went into production real fast. Of course, I wasn't born. I was born in 98. This was 97. But looking at how the years of the movies came out, because you had Batman in 89. Then you had Batman Returns in 92. That was a 3-year timeline. You also had Returns go into Forever, which was a 3-year timeline. And then this one, they rushed. They said, okay, we have the audience attention with Batman Forever. Let's try to make the other one. They want a sequel right now. Everybody was waiting for the sequel. And production was going really quickly. They got Arnold Schwarzenegger. They got Uma Thurman. Val Kilmer did not want to return. Val Kilmer couldn't return, I'm sorry. He wanted to return. He couldn't return because he was doing a movie called The Saint, which I've also seen with him and Elizabeth Shue. Great movie. To critics, it was okay. But anyways, Val Kilmer wanted to do The Saint, so he was already committed to The Saint. Couldn't do Batman and Robin, which they should have waited a year for Val. They really should have, because when production was on the fast track, you needed an actor. And who else, when it comes to popularity in around the 90s, was George Clooney. Which George Clooney was doing ER at the time, and he had the chin to be Batman. That was it. George Clooney, in my opinion, is the worst Batman of them all. George Clooney has a decent Bruce Wayne. It's not Bruce Wayne by any means, and his portrayal of Batman is like Adam West's Batman. It's campy. It's campy. Chris O'Donnell again as Robin. No problems whatsoever, except he was a little bit more whiny in this film. The whole film was so on the fast track that they made so many new vehicles and so many new ideas to try to make merchandise out of it, you know. And that's one thing. I was watching the production of Batman and Robin, like the whole Batman trilogy or the quadrilogy, whatever you want to call it, and they said that they wanted to make a new Batmobile, which they did, which I actually have the Batmobile back in America. I'm still in Germany. I got 2 more days. It's lovely here. But I got the Batmobile back in America, and I don't even know why they made a whole new Batmobile. This time, instead of the original Batmobile from 89 and the Batmobile from 95, Batman has an open cockpit when he drives. And it's like interesting. And then Robin has a motorcycle, which I'm just like, weird. And they made so many new vehicles in this just to make toys, and it was so stupid. Arnold Schwarzenegger got paid $25 million to be in this film, and he was barely even in this film. He was in for the close-ups, and then he never wore the suit. He got paid $25 million to not even really play a part. Uma Thurman in this film, I like. You know, I really do like Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. She's really believable as Poison Ivy with the script that she's handed. But, yeah, Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, I had no problem with as well. Other than that, her character, her origin character as being Alfred's niece, I didn't like, because if you stay true to the original Batman series, the TV series, and also with the comics, it always was Barbara Gordon. Nobody else. It was Commissioner Gordon's daughter. And they kind of ruined that in this film. I think that you shouldn't have done that. I mean, you kind of ruined a very good iconic character in Batgirl, but the thing is, they ruined her again, because you know how when Schumacher did Forever in the opening, you see Batman suiting up with the arms, and then you see everything happening. You know, in the whole entire film, you see, you know, Batman putting on the belt. You see him, you know, showing his arms. Then you see him putting on his fucking pants, and seeing both of their asses, and seeing Alicia Silverstone's ass, I was just like, that's cool. And then seeing the bat nipples for both Batman, Robin, and Alicia Silverstone. The bat nipples, Schumacher should never have created the bat nipples. I mean, that is one of the most controversial things to this day. And do I like them? Heck no, I don't like them. It makes them look like, oh, they're more sex appeal than they are an iconic DC superhero. But anyways, this plot is kind of interesting. Batman and Robin, they got called to do something. They're going, and Commissioner Gordon says, Batman, we have a new villain in town. His name's Mr. Freeze. I thought that was a cool opening. I thought that was pretty cool. But also at the same time, with the comic relief of Robin's like, I want a car. And Batman's like, looking at him like, okay. And then Robin says, chicks dig the car. And then Batman, at the last thing he says is, this is why Superman works alone. And I'm just like, yes! Because I love Superman, and that's why Superman works alone. But anyways, I thought that was kind of funny. Other than that, the whole action sequences were kind of overdone. The special effects were decent in this one. I thought Forever actually had better special effects in this one. Mr. Freeze, he's okay in this film. Arnold I thought it was an interesting casting looking back, and now looking at this, it's just like, okay, he's Mr. Freeze. Okay, just like Jim Carrey was the Riddler, like Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face. They're like, okay. Michelle Pfeiffer was actually real as being Catwoman. Danny DeVito was the Penguin. Jack Nicholson, he is the Joker in that time period, and then wait till The Dark Knight, and that's why I love Heath Ledger as the Joker. I even skip over Jared Leto, or maybe Cesar Romero. Cesar Romero was a good Joker as well. So, but yeah, he wasn't Mr. Freeze in my opinion. Just like George Clooney was nowhere near Batman. I mean, it's even hard to really understand why they cast George Clooney. I realize he had the cleft chin, but you could have drafted somebody with a decent voice to be Batman. Val Kilmer actually had a little bit of the voice, and he also looked like Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was Batman, and I have no problem with Michael Keaton. Adam West, of course, it was a comic, 60s, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Christian Bale had a deep voice. He went over the top with it, but he had a deep voice. And then Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck had a decent voice in the recent Batman v Superman, and probably will in Justice League. But George Clooney, the worst thing I think that Schumacher did in this film too was too much comic relief, because when they're doing an auction and Poison Ivy is, basically tempting everybody to, for her to get the diamond, and Batman and Robin start bidding after her, and they go 100,000, 1 million, blah, 2 million, that's a utility belt, 3 million, like blah, 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 doing all this comic relief, and then you see George Clooney take out credit card, and it's a Visa credit card, and says, never leave the cave without it. Okay. This is why this film received 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Because of that. They made so many toys off of it. They rushed production. The story wasn't even really that good. I mean, Poison Ivy's trying to save plants while Freeze is trying to freeze Gotham. And it's just like, why are these two villains working together, considering the fact that one wants a hot climate and the other one wants a cold climate? I think they were responding to the fans with Mr. Freeze. I think they were also responding to the fans of Poison Ivy. Uma Thurman, I have no problem with her as Poison Ivy. I really do not. She is a very iconic character. I like her in Pulp Fiction. I saw her in Pulp Fiction. I've seen her in Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2. She's a badass. And with her being Poison Ivy, I had no problem with that. Another villain I did not like in this film. Bane. Oh. They used him so bad, and I mean that was the closest look of it being in the comics compared to like Chris Nolan's Dark Knight, which Tom Hardy did a very good job as Bane, as Nolan's Bane, but not the comics Bane. Bane. But he has no words in this film, and then he just follows Ivy around saying, need this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, poorly used in this film. He's an iconic character, and they used him so badly. Of course, Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon, always good. Michael Goff as Alfred is perfect. I mean, those two have been there since the beginning, and having to see the uprise of Batman and the low side of Batman, so I feel bad for those two gentlemen. But other than that, this film is complete crap. I'm not a big fan of it. Um, it is what it is. I can't do nothing about it because it was a year. It was made a year before I was born. I wish I can go back in time and tell some of these writers for Warner Brothers and DC to write better scripts. I mean, I think the reason why they used that Superman line was because Tim Burton was going to come out with a film called Superman Lives, with Kevin Smith writing it. Nicolas Cage was going to start Superman. I thought that was going to be iconic and cool, but thank God that went down the drain because I watched the documentary on that, and oh my God, just like Batman and Robin when it comes to the sets. The sets of Gotham City I've never liked since Schumacher took over the project. Joel Schumacher should have never been the director of Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. They should have gotten a better director. I mean, hell, I think even a drama cold Gus Van Sant could have directed this better. I think, let me think of a director right now that was iconic in the 90s. I think Richard Donner could have came back and directed two light Batman movies just like he did with Superman, with the original Superman. Superman wasn't dark like Tim Burton's was. You know, they could have followed the same way, but Donner could have made it just a little bit lighter. Richard Donner was great. They could. I know Tim Burton wanted to leave the project because Warner Brothers wanted to make it lighter. You had a number of directors. I mean, you could have had J.J. Abrams, who was young at the time, rewriting scripts and everything, because he did it for Superman Flyby, or get Bryan Singer, that did X-Men 1 and X-Men 2. I mean, yeah, he was a good. Bryan Singer's a good director, but the thing was, Bryan Singer, Superman Returns, that's another review I'll do. But anyways, Schumacher should never been the director. Akira, I forget his name. Akira Goldsmith, he's still writing movies to this day. He's doing the Transformers series now, which that's going well after 5 movies. But anyways, he's done a couple superhero movies. The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, decent films. I'm not going to say they were good, but him being the writer of Forever and Batman and Robin was just terrible. The plots of Forever and Robin and Batman and Robin were just terrible. The writing is terrible in this film. Like I said, the special effects were decent. George Clooney's portrayal as Batman sucks. Chris O'Donnell, decent as Robin. I have no problem with him. I always actually see him as Robin, to be honest with you. I always thought he could be a good Dick Grayson, and he was a good Dick Grayson. Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl. Yeah, she was hot off Clueless, and they wanted to cast her just like a Nicole Kidman kind of thing, or a Tommy Lee Jones kind of thing, or a Jim Carrey kind of thing. Whoever's a hot actress out there or a hot person in the world that just got off a big hit of a movie, cast them just like Val Kilmer in Tombstone, or George Clooney in ER, or Chris O'Donnell in Scent of a Woman. Like, Michael Keaton was known for Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice. Those weren't big hits. Kim Basinger was known for a couple films. She was also in a Bond film. Like, nobody knew of Kim Basinger. Jack Nicholson was known for The Shining. Other than that, I don't think he was known for anything else back in the day. Michelle Pfeiffer was only known for Scarface back in '83. She wasn't a hot name. Danny DeVito wasn't a hot name back in the day. I mean, everybody knew he was short. And then right after the whole Dark Side with Tim Burton, which he did a marvelous job, and I thought Tim Burton did a really good job with Batman and Batman Returns, then the slope of Warner Brothers went bye-bye. Warner Brothers wanted more creative control, and when a studio has more creative control, it shows how a movie's downfall just goes. I mean, Forever. I'm sorry. Let's start from the beginning here. Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4. Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Superman Returns, Green Lantern, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. The list is probably going to keep going on and on if Justice League and this aren't good, but this is why the fourth movie in a franchise is really never that good, or the third movie in that franchise is never really that good, because after success of 2 films or 1 film, the studio wants more creative control because it's their property. And it's stupid. You need to have good writers, and you need to have a good director to direct a decent movie, a very good movie, which is on probably one of the top 5 on my list. Good Will Hunting, Gus Van Sant, and then Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing it. Best drama movie on my list. Superman the movie. Great writing by Tom Mankiewicz and Mario Puzo, who was the Godfather writer, and good direction by Richard Donner. Perfect movie. Batman. Sam Hamm did it a little decent. There was a couple holes in that film, but Tim Burton made it come to life. You need a good director, which Joel Schumacher is not a good director, only in 1 movie, and that's The Lost Boys. I'm sorry, 2 movies. In The Lost Boys and A Time to a Kill. And then you need good writers. Get good writers. You can't have Joel Schumacher at the helm and expect the film to still be great. You can't. You need good writers. You look at James Cameron in all of his films. Terminator, Terminator 1, Titanic, Avatar. Those were good films with him at the direction helm, but also he had good writers. Steven Spielberg. He had good writers. And also George Lucas. He wrote the films himself. And he wasn't even the director, and they were good movies. Except for the Star Wars prequels. But anyways, when you look at a director like Spielberg or Cameron or one of the iconic ones in Richard Donner, they're where they're at because of writers, good screenplays, and a good casting crew. You cast Val Kilmer as Batman and have Joel Schumacher at the helm, you think, oh, that's cool, but where's the writing? Exactly. So I'm going to give Batman and Robin an F. Not a good film at all. Please keep subscribing to my films. I'm probably going to be doing, I'd say, either the Star Wars series next, or I'm probably going to do a little bit of a spin-off kind of thing where I'm going to do Superman Returns, and then maybe go for a drama film like I want to review Good Will Hunting, and I want to review The Social Network. Yeah, this is why Batman is still where it's at right now. So please keep subscribing. I love subscribers. My buddy Jack Hamill's actually doing who knows what with I don't know what he's doing. He's gonna go see some sightseeing today. This is probably our last day in Germany. Then I gotta come home to America. Ugh. But anyways, keep liking my videos, keep viewing. I just want to get out there in the world, in the YouTube world, and when I think I have an understanding of movies. By the way, Transformers 5. Which maybe I'll do a couple of those reviews. But anyways, thanks for watching, and back to America I go. See ya.